So, as a sequel to my original video where I beat the Bloons Tower Defense series with only the original 5 towers, I decided to make this where I try to beat the Bloons Tower Defense series with only new towers that are added in each version. So, the rules are the same as last time, except instead of using the original 5 towers, we can only use towers that were added in that specific version. This means that from Bloons Tower Defense 2 onward, we are not allowed to use the Dart, Tack, Ice, Bomb, or Super Monkey. And of course, glitches and paid items are allowed only if it's impossible to beat the game without them. With that in mind, let's get started with BTD 1. So, you might be thinking that this is going to be very easy because technically all 5 towers are new. However, in order to make it more interesting, I decided to make it so that I'm not allowed to use the Dart Monkey because it technically did exist in prior Bloons games before the Bloons Tower Defense series came around. So with that in mind, I can only use the Tack, Ice, Bomb, and Super Monkey in this game. Now, although Tack shooters are decent, the big problem that they have is the fact that they tend to miss a lot of the balloons, which means that eventually you'll leak a bunch of lives. That means that you have to be very careful and try your best to position the tack shooter so that most of the tacks can see the track and pop the balloons. I did lose on the first few attempts of trying this, but after a while I got lucky enough to where most of the balloons didn't make it through, and after getting enough tack shooters I managed to clear the entire game with them. Moving on to BTD 2. In this game, the only new tower is the Boomerang Monkey, but we also get road spikes and glue to play around with. Being restricted to only one actual tower might sound bad, but luckily the Boomerang Monkey is probably the second best monkey in this game because it has a pretty high pierce considering its price. The base Boomerang costs $475 and has 2 pierce, but the multi-target upgrade costs $270 and increases the pierce from 2 to 5. So the game plan is to get a Boomerang Monkey, upgrade it as soon as possible, and then repeat the process, because it is always worth it to upgrade 270 for 3 pierce rather than 475 for 2 pierce. The Sonic Boom upgrade is useless because it only allows the Boomerang to pop frozen balloons and we're not using the Ice Monkey anyway. The only problem with Boomerang Monkeys is the fact that they tend to miss the balloons, especially when they are far away. However, as you get more Boomerang Monkeys down, they all cover each other's blind spots, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue. However, this is a problem. The Boomerang Monkey has no upgrades that allow it to pop lead balloons, the road spikes don't pop lead balloons, and the monkey glue doesn't pop anything at all. The only way to pop lead balloons is using the bomb tower. I literally tried everything. I tried the upgrade glitch to purchase more multi-target and sonic booms, that did nothing. I even tried looking into the game files to see if I can find anything that'll help me, and I even stumbled across assets for a spike-a-bolt, which originally I guess was supposed to be added in this game. But sadly, nothing can save us from this, and we are forced to use a bomb tower to beat this game. However, I will try to beat the game using only one bomb shooter and spending all the rest of our money on Boomerang Towers and the road items. Try your best to avoid using road items, but if you are about to leak a bunch of lives, then you should spend that on road spikes or glue depending on what the situation is. Also, make sure to get a bunch of boomerangs in the back so that they can pop the balloons that come out of lead balloons that make it too far along the track before getting popped by the bomb tower. And that should be enough to beat the game using only one bomb shooter. Moving on to BTD 3, which was actually the most interesting one of the bunch. We only have 2 new towers, the Spike-a-Bolt and the Monkey Beacon, plus we also have the Exploding Pineapple. I'm playing this on medium. I tried to do it on hard but I couldn't because the prices were a bit too high and you ended up leaking way too many lives. The Spike-a-Bolt is not a great option as an early game tower because of its slow reload speed, but it does excel when there are straight lines in the pathway. Having targeting options is also good because we can set it on last to maximize its 6 pierce. The game plan is to first purchase 3 unupgraded Spike-a-Bolts because then they can alternate in case balloons get past any of them. And another benefit the Spike-a-Bolts have is their large projectile and slow speed allows the projectile to occasionally damage a balloon more than once. After getting around 4 spikables down, work on upgrading them to Juggernaut multi-shots. Although the multi-shot doesn't actually increase the damage or pierce, the increased projectile size allows them to pop way more balloons than if it were just one spike ball. The spikapults cannot pop lead balloons even with the Juggernaut upgrade, unlike in new versions, but we do have exploding pineapples for that. So use exploding pineapples to pop lead balloons and large rushes that overwhelm the spikapults. After you have around 3 of these Juggernauts, we can place our Monkey Beacon, mostly for the Monkey Storm Beacon. This upgrade costs $2,550 initially, and each subsequent use is around $1,000, but it allows us to pretty much clear the entire screen besides Moabs. Ceramic balloons are no issue because of the spikapult's high pierce and the fact that they don't fade away. It can hit them multiple times. The Moab gets destroyed for the same reason that the ceramic balloons do. It doesn't disappear, so it is not invulnerable to absorb a lot of the pierce from each spiked ball. After getting some more Juggernauts, we can upgrade our beacon to have jungle drums to give them more attack speed. To finish off our defense, we're gonna get 1 more jungle drums beacon and a few more spikapults, and this should be enough to carry us to the end of the game. And we have successfully beaten Bloons TD 3 using only the Monkey Beacon, the Spikapult, and the Exploding Pineapple. Moving on to Bloons TD 4, this was actually the easiest game in the entire challenge, unlike last time, because we have access to 8 new towers. We have the Mortar, the Glue, the Monkey Ace, the Buccaneer, the Wizard, the Dartling Gunner, the Spike Factory, and the Banana Farm. I decided to start out with a Monkey Apprentice, then buy another one when I have enough money, and then buy a Monkey Ace, upgrade it, and then go into a Spike Factory to catch any leaks. The Monkey Apprentices both got Fireball upgrades in order to deal with lead balloons and to have more pierce, and then we can start farming using the Banana Farm. Camo balloons were not a problem this time around because the Monkey Ace, the Mortar, the Darkling, and the Spike Factory all shoot regardless of whether any balloons are actually on screen. I decided to purchase a Buccaneer before continuing to upgrade my farming. The Battleship is a pretty decent upgrade for the price, so I'm definitely gonna pick that up. After getting 2 Tier 3 farms and upgrading the Monkey Ace to its maximum upgrade, we decide to get a Mortar Monkey and upgrade it to the Battery because it's actually a very good tower. Once we get the first banana research facility, the money just starts pouring in and it basically allows us to get any tower we want. The first BFB absolutely melts even though none of the towers are particularly good for single target. There's just so many of them that the damage just overwhelms it. And yeah, this run was so easy, I just decided to mess around and get a bunch of every single tower to the Tier 4 because it was just fun. And with the overwhelming amount of damage that we have, we easily defeat round 75 and beat Bloons TD 4 with only new towers. I was literally surprised when I saw the victory screen because I thought that there would be at least 10 more rounds to go with how fast I was beating them. In BTD 5 we got a couple of new towers. We have the Ninja, the Sniper, the Balloon Chipper, the Engineer, the Heli-Pilot, and the Submarine. For some reason, in this run I only used the Engineer and the Heli-Pilot. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I did it. But anyways, we want to start out with an Engineer or 2, and then go as fast as you can into a Balloon Trap, because this is actually a very good moneymaker. Since the prior upgrade is Cleansing Foam, this also removes the problem with camos and leads. After saving enough money, we can get a Downdraft Heli-Pilot, and then upgrade it to a Support Chinook to start even more farming. Continue to get 1 or 2 more Balloon Traps and another Support Chinook, and you should have enough money to do whatever you want. The strategy item I'm going with are 4 Apache Dart Ships and some overclocks for them. And yeah, for some reason I did this run really boring, so there's not much to say, but I guess this shows that the Apache Dart Ship isn't bad, or at least not with the amount of money that you can make. So yeah, BTD 5 is also possible. And finally, BTD 6. So for BTD6, I decided to do something interesting. Instead of just doing a regular chimps match, I decided to do 140 chimps, which means I'm going from round 6 to round 140. This is because the Spirit of the Forest can just trivialize most rounds and the Avatar of Wrath makes round 100 easy, so this at least gives us some variety. This was filmed before the addition of the Mermonkey and even before Corvus. Geraldo was still the newest hero. That means that we have access to one hero, Alchemist, Druid, and the Beast Handler. I started off with a Druid, upgraded to Thornswarm, and then saved up for Geraldo. And from there we will be using a Avatar of Wrath setup. Getting a Jungle Druid will help out in the early and mid game, and stacking some Populace will allow us to deal high damage to single targets until we can afford our Avatar of Wrath. Obviously, also getting an Alch buff is great. We could also do the Transforming Tonic route, but I prefer this one because it's much simpler. However, before getting an Avatar of Wrath, I will be getting the Spirit of the Forest because this basically solos everything until the 90s. And on round 87, we finally get the Avatar of Wrath. And now we have the save up to Permabrew. The Spirit of the Forest can handle DDTs with the help of a Camo Potion, but fortified ones are too much, which means we need to get some glue to help out. The outer layer of the bag gets popped easily by the Avatar of Wrath, and the Spirit of the Forest cleans up the insides. Since we don't have Permabrew yet, round 102 actually posed a big problem, and I had to spend a Genie and a Glue in order to pass it. However, just 2 rounds later, on 104, we can finally get the Permabrew and give the Avatar of Wrath the reliable lead popping power. After that, I got some miscellaneous help, such as 2 more Populace Druids, a T-Rex, and Geraldo's Rabbit. I was still lacking in some DDT popping power, so I decided to get a Superstorm in order to help out. And on round 135 I managed to get it, but I made the mistake of putting it in the front, which means it ended up stalling all the rounds really long. However, with the max buffed Superstorm, even the DDTs on round 138 didn't stand a chance. And I emptied out Geraldo's shop as much as I could for round 140, and the fortified badge stood no chance. And we have successfully beaten round 140 chimps in BTD6 with only new towers. So, to conclude, is it possible to beat Bloons tower defense with only new towers? Sadly, no. BTD2 requires a bomb shooter in order to beat it, but besides that, all of the other games are possible. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!